There's something I've been dying to ask you for 4 years now. You messaged me. You were talking about maybe your production team's gonna reach out to me, and then nothing happened for 4 years. Why did you change your mind? What happened?
There was no mind change. And I love questions like these.
Boys, welcome back to the second channel where we put in half the effort, but we have twice the fun. Today, I'm interviewing a very special guest, AndrewZim of Bizarre Foods. He's had a profound effect on the travel food genre and on me personally. When I was in my 20s, I watched his show and it convinced me to move out of central Minnesota to Asia and to do something completely different with my life. When I first started my show, I went to a tofu restaurant that he had gone to in Taiwan. The tofu was so intense, it was so stinky that he had to spit it out. So I said, oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I ate the same thing he ate, except for I kept it down. After the video was made, I asked all my very few followers to send it to him.
AndrewZim, put me on your show.
This is the crazy part. This is the part where I'm hoping to get some answers today. So he wrote to me, what's your email? We have business to discuss. You can always change your mind later, but my production company would love to talk to you. Better that this is private to start. I will happily juice you later. I don't know what that means. I've never been juiced by any gentleman. Let's hatch a plan in secret before we unleash it on the world. Are you kidding me? He gave me his email. I wrote him and he never replied again. It's always been killing me to know why did you never write me back and what was the plan? So I'm gonna ask him today and see if he has an answer. AndrewZim, we're gonna pull him up right now. Let's do it. AndrewZim, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time.
It's great to be here.
You started Bizarre Foods in 2007. I'm curious, where did you shoot your pilot episode?
I'd arrived in Tokyo the night before. We were shooting at 7 a.m. at a getemono bar called the Asadachi, which translates as morning erection. You could pick your own frog, and then they would skin it and give you a little like 5-course micro tasting of that bullfrog. And you could drink scorpion or snake wine. The food was considered exotic, even by Japanese standards.
Are there any episodes that you wish you could redo or you feel like you kind of missed the mark?
Oh gosh, yeah. In the pilot, we had gone to Malaysia. We went to a durian farm. I had never tasted durian before in my life. It was the height of durian season. So the aroma is unmistakable. And the owner had piled up some of the most premium durian he could find, and he cuts them open and he presents me with the pod, and I put it in my mouth and I gagged on it and spat it out. Oh. And then I took another bite. It started this whole thing with me of if you don't like it, try it twice. So I was able to choke down my second bite, but it was such a shock to my system.
It tastes like completely rotten, mushy onions. Oh my God.
Well, that is your taste.
Yeah, no.
He was very offended that I had spat it out. And I learned a very big lesson there, which is no matter what happens, you swallow that first bite because you don't know what the relationship is between the person giving it to you and the item itself. Funazushi, which is the precursor to sushi in Japan, they're packed in cooked rice and left to rot for 5-6 years. It has all the stink and ammoniation and decay of 7-year-old rotted fish. And I actually, by that point, had a taste for those things that I had developed, but people around me couldn't keep down the first bite, and I'm eating it merrily, and I'm like, wow, what a difference a couple years makes. So if I could take anything back, it would be that one, because people see that, they don't realize it's the pilot, and I always get a lot of ugly letters like, how could you spit that out?
Oy. What could you have done differently? I mean, your body kind of rejected it. Oh, you think just go for it?
You have to. I mean, look, in our Cambodia episode, we fished with a family on Lake Tonle Sap. The mother of the house at the end of the segment made a meal for me out of the fish her husband caught. They don't have any money. They catch fish and they trade it in the town for other goods they need, like clothes, other foods, vegetables, even school books for the kids. The family had taken the day off from work to let us tell their story, and we were eating their catch for the day, which was like 4 or 5 fish. I mean, this was not a big operation. We're talking about 4 or 5 fish on an average day, 10, 15 fish on a great day. The mom filleted one of the bigger fish and then rinsed the fillets in the water that was running outside their house. And I poked my head out the window and there were dead animals, human feces, because you have to remember where all these houses are collecting is where they're living. The lake was both their source of sustenance and their garbage bag. It was very shocking to our audience. It was really shocking to the crew. The producers were telling me, do not eat that. And I turned to the camera and I said, look, I'd rather be a better dinner guest than a rude American TV host. So I ate the fish. That was a decision that I made that I think was born of years of experiencing the joy of other people sharing their culture with me, and I never wanted to be disrespectful to that.
Just the fact that you went from place to place showing this very unique food that maybe only a handful of people ate, still that custom can easily get associated with all Vietnamese people, all Japanese people. And it's tough because naturally I find it interesting, you find it interesting, a lot of the audience finds it interesting. And so on one hand, you're trying to present this really interesting custom. On the other hand, you don't want people to judge a whole culture population based on something that maybe just a few people do.
The funazushi, we made very sure to tell people that this is something that only a handful of traditionalists are holding on to. The funazushi of Lake Biwa, there used to be 100 producers ringing the lake. Now there's 2. We go to great lengths to make sure to let people know who's still eating this and why.
There's something I've been dying to ask you for 4 years now. I made this video about eating stinky tofu in Taiwan at a restaurant where you had struggled to eat the stinky tofu. You saw the video and you messaged me, and I was going out of my mind. And then nothing happened for 4 years. So I'm dying to know, what was that message about? And what were you thinking at the time? Why did you change your mind? What happened?
There was no mind change. What you had done was very funny. You're very natural on camera. Obviously, I had a great attachment to it because you were at Dai's House of Unique Stink. And you also gave a little nod to some of us who had been down that road before, literally and figuratively, which I found completely charming. But you were very, very engaging while you were doing it. You could speak well extemporaneously. Viewers really like that kind of delivery and stuff like that. And I thought that you, and still think that you have a good future doing whatever it is that you want to do in the media space because of that natural talent. We had some huge turnover, a whole bunch of circumstantial stuff here. And like many things that warm up and heat up here, 99% of things tend to die. And if I created a misunderstanding, forgive me. I've also learned that that restraint of pen and tongue is really important because circumstances change from day to day.
First of all, thank you for all the nice words. I just want to say, I never felt any bitterness about that. I was just always genuinely curious about, I wonder what that was about.
For my part in that, I'm apologizing. I'm not presuming to know how you felt at all, and I mean that in the most respectful way possible. So I'm glad that you didn't feel any offense. But when you brought it up, it reminded me that I owed you an apology.
So it's interesting. From there, I went on to shoot a failed pilot for the Travel Channel, which was actually an incredible learning lesson. And as far as like making it, I feel like I made it even a couple years ago. The dynamic has changed so much in these modern days where, you know, before these different companies had all the chips, they had all the power, and now the creators can really take the power back. I'm super happy doing what I'm doing now.
It used to be a couple years ago, you couldn't get the money and you couldn't get the control as a first timer on major cable or network. However, now with the success of so many people in other spaces, they are now letting them have the money and the control right out of the gate because they've already proved it in another medium that, by the way, is growing faster than major cable is.
Do you wish you would have started working on your online presence earlier?
Gosh, if I dwelled in that, I'd be a really angry, resentful person.
Fair
but
enough.
I now have a production company. We're also exploring models where we are now making our own shows and retaining different rights to them. In the sense of my own social media and stuff, I have a pretty large presence. I'm just not in that 10 million TikToker category yet.
What is keeping you excited these days?
Oh my God, endless things. I'm insanely curious. I try to remain teachable all the time. I'm the one who makes everything expensive and unwieldy because I come in every day with 3 new ideas and everyone was like, we just started working on the idea from 3 weeks ago, and we have a stack of 21 other ideas you want to start working on.
Before we go, I just want to ask what projects you're working on that I should let our audience know about.
We have Family Dinner on Discovery Plus on the Magnolia Network, which has been a big fat hit. We're shooting the 2nd season of it in a couple of weeks. Then we have What's Eating America, which is my MSNBC series. We spent all of the pandemic taking our PPP money at our production company and putting it into development and keeping our employees here and that company open and developing. Everything was on hold for 14 months. And then all of a sudden, the folks who run our production company leaned into my office the other day and I said, oh, when can we talk about X or Y? And they're like, we have 10 pitch meetings today. And I'm just like, holy moly.
Fantastic. That is going to do it for today. I'm so glad that after 4 years, we're actually finally speaking. And I feel like we've really bookended this part of my life. It was like the starting of this journey, making this food show, getting this message on Twitter from Andrew Zimmern, and then now I've done an interview, and I just kind of feel complete right now. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you. Don't be a stranger.
I'm heading to Minnesota in 5 weeks, so I might try to bother you.
Are you really coming to Minnesota?
Welcome to the Best Ever merch store, where you can check out our brand new designs. Best Ever bandanas in black, white, and red. The Please Send Nudes hoodie, pillow soft fabric with a quality custom graphic inlay. And our street food around the world graphic tee. We're now shipping everywhere around the world. Just visit shopbesteverfood.com or click the link in the description below to get your new merch today. A peace.